I'm going to be making a no-fuss pastry cream. Very simple cream that goes really well in desserts, things like cream puffs or eclairs or some of those elegant berry tarts. This is a very, very simple method that requires only one pot and just a few basic ingredients. So I have a half a cup of granulated sugar. And I'm going to start that in the pot and turn my burner to medium. To that, I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of cornstarch. This is a very important agent that's going to help thicken the cream and make it nice and creamy. To that, I'm just going to hit it with a pinch of salt. Salt in sweets and baked items just kind of brings out, enhances the flavor. So I'm just going to take a simple wire whisk and sift those ingredients together. The sugar helps to break down the baking and the cornstarch very finely along with the salt. So now that that's pretty much sifted together and the powder is nice and fine sand, I'm going to move on to the wet ingredients. Now in this bowl I have 4 egg yolks and 2 cups of whole milk. I've let that sit at room temperature for a little while, but you could even use cold eggs and milk. I just found that it helps to temper everything together nicely without curdling if it's at room temperature. So 4 egg yolks and milk, and I'm just going to whisk them together. I'm trying not to splatter myself right now. So the egg yolk and the milk is all whisked together. And now I'm going to slowly stream it into the dry ingredients while whisking. So it's important to just constantly whisk everything together as you slowly pour the wet into the dry. Again, this is going at medium heat. Just want to make sure I don't get any big clumps, not go too fast. Get all the edges and ridges there in that pot too. Alright. Oh, excuse me. Real TV. Accidents happen. Alright, so that is all whisked together. We added the wet to the dry, and now we're going to be adding butter. So this is about 1/3 cup of butter. I just happened to slice it up so that it would melt more quickly. We're just going to add that in, and we're going to keep whisking till the butter is melted down. Now after the butter melts down, we're going to actually let it boil. So the medium heat should be a good safe temperature to keep everything on, but you do want it to boil. Bringing it to boiling point actually activates the cornstarch, the thickening agent that we put in there. And if you don't bring it to the boil, then it's not fully activated. So we're just going to let this melt down and get hot and reach a boiling point. Okay, so I have been consistently, non-stop whisking this as everything starts to thicken. And you can tell when it's reached a boiling point because you'll actually see bubbles and air pockets start to pop out from it. But it is important to keep on whisking. So after it hit boiling, I let it go for another minute or so while whisking. And I think it's a really lovely consistency. If you can see how creamy and pudding-like it has become. So now that the heat is completely turned off, we are going to season our sauce. Now, traditionally, this is great as a cream, a vanilla cream. So I'm just going to put like a capful of vanilla extract. But you could put pistachio powder or espresso powder, get creative, just depending on what it is that you're actually making. I will be finishing this off a little bit later with something special. So I'm just going to keep it basic vanilla. So off the heat, put this whisk aside. I have a little strainer here. Now this part is not necessary, but it does help to make sure that you're refining the sauce and getting out any little tiny clumps of solids like egg particles that might have formed if you stopped whisking for a second, sort of thing. But it's not necessary. I just like to do it so I have a really nice, smooth, creamy texture throughout. So you just kind of use a small spatula and just push it through the sieve, getting all the creamy stuff out. And you'll see there's a little bit of solid in there. And so I've left that behind. Look at that. Look at that creaminess. Real great texture there. Okay, so this sauce is served cold. So you are going to want to refrigerate it for at least 2 hours. And it does stay fresh, good for use for up to 2 days. The important thing is when you're covering it, you press it down all the way so that it actually touches the cream. And this prevents a skin from forming and ruining it. So push your saran wrap, plastic wrap, all the way down flat with the top of the pastry cream, as you can see. And now it goes in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours, and we'll make something wonderful with it a little later when it's cool. So our pastry cream that we made earlier has been chilling in the refrigerator for a few hours. It's much later in the day, but I'm craving something sweet, so we're going to throw something together with it. You can use this pastry cream for all sorts of stuff. It's a real versatile ingredient, and you can use it in tarts, you can use it in stuffing donuts. I happen to have some soft batch lady fingers here. So first of all, I'm going to take my pastry cream and I'm going to take the Ziploc. We don't do a lot of baking, so we don't have professional supplies, but we make do. So into the Ziploc, I'm going to scoop some of this pastry cream. And then I'm going to press out some of the extra air. And I'm going to take some scissors and snip a pretty big opening in there because this is a thick cream. So I'm going to take one of these little lady fingers. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to very generously dollop little mounds of pastry cream into the cookie. And if you happen to have fruit, which we happen to have strawberries, and we love strawberries, you can add those in there as well. And then I'll just put the little top there. Set a little strawberry side next to it. Little partner there. Sprinkle some powdered sugar through a sieve. And you have a very simple, very delightful little treat.